For close to 1 month, we really missed Test cricket. After the Australia versus South Africa match, we were wondering when are we going to see red ball action? Well, it is finally here. And once there was a drought, now there is a flood. You are going to see from February 4th onwards till about March, you are going to see 4 action-packed Test series. India versus Australia is a blockbuster. But do you know that there are also going to be 3 series happening side by side with the Border Gavaskar Trophy. So from Feb 4th to March 13th, there is only action and nothing but action. So let us get to the intricacies of what is the Test series schedule now for the next 2 months. As you are very well aware, from now till this, there is also New Zealand versus Sri Lanka, but that is at a later date in March. Later date in March is I am only going to focus on now till March 2nd week. After that, I will focus on the New Zealand versus Sri Lanka series that's happening towards the later part of March. India versus Australia 4 tests. Zimbabwe versus West Indies 2 tests. England versus New Zealand 2 tests, by the way. South Africa versus West Indies 2 tests. 3 of those series are important. 2 in this are just bilateral series engagements. So let me first begin with the first series that is happening, which will be a blockbuster, and it is your virtual preview to the World Test Championship final, which is India versus Australia. Australia are returning to India after a gap of 6 years. The last 3 Border Gavaskar Trophy series has been won 2-1 in favor of India, and because of that, they have improved their net head-to-head to 22-19 in the Border Gavaskar Trophy. First test will happen on February 9th to February 13th in Nagpur. 4 days later, you will have India versus Australia second test, February 17 to Feb 21 in Delhi. Note these dates down the calendar, folks, because it's going to be a very action-packed test calendar indeed for you guys. India versus Australia, the third test. After a gap of a week, you will have India versus Australia, third test at the beautiful HPCA Stadium in Dharamshala from March 1 to March 5. And then the series will culminate on March 9th to 13th with the 4th and final test at the Narendra Modi Stadium in Ahmedabad. So 4 action-packed tests, virtual preview to the World Test Championship cycle final. That is the way how this series is being looked at. Big series, better than the Ashes in a way, but one of the most fiercely contested rivalries ever. But tucked away in one corner of Africa, Test cricket returns to Zimbabwe as well after a period of time. And today, they are going to host the West Indies for 2 tests. This is not part of the World Test Championship cycle though. It is just a bilateral series agreement. West Indies are coming to Zimbabwe after a period of 6 years. And you know what was the West Indies versus Zimbabwe contest called, and what trophy did they all fight for? It was called the Clive Lloyd Trophy. So now in the Clive Lloyd Trophy, you are going to see February 4th to February 8th, the first test at Bulawayo, Queen's Park Oval, Bulawayo, Zimbabwe versus West Indies. And immediately from Feb 12th to Feb 16th, you are going to see the second test in Bulawayo as well. Harare surprisingly is not hosting any tests this time around. So Bulawayo will host 2 tests, Feb 4th till Feb 16th. Already you have Feb 9th to 13th and 17th to 21st. 4th to 21st, continuous action. But in another part of the globe, in the land of the long white cloud, there is going to be a 2 test series that will begin. New Zealand versus England. And remember, this is not part of the World Test Championship cycle. It is just a bilateral series arrangement between these 2 countries. New Zealand versus England, the first test February 16 to February 20th. That will happen at the Bay Oval. And that test is going to be a pink ball test. The only pink ball test that is there in this entire schedule at this point in time. New Zealand versus England, 16th Feb to 20th Feb at the Bay Oval. Then 24th to 28th, you all thought that there might be some space between 22nd to 28th? No. 24th to 28th, you'll see the second test between New Zealand and England at the Basin Reserve in Wellington. So this is how your February series is packed now. You effectively have only 2 days of relief in cricket when it comes to February. Does it get any better in March? No, it doesn't. Because from 28th February to March 4, you will have the first test between South Africa versus West Indies at Centurion. And then 1 to 5 anyway, you are going to see India versus Australia, the third test in Dharamshala. From March 8 to March 12, you are going to have the second test between South Africa versus West Indies in Johannesburg. And this series is part of the World Test Championship cycle. South Africa, unfortunately, are all but out of contention after their 2-0 loss to Australia. However, this series will still be important for South Africa because they would want other results going their way, but practically it does look very, very difficult for them. So again, if you look at it, just a 2-day gap between this series and that. So effectively from Feb 4th till March 13th, you're only going to see a 4-day gap in cricket where there'll be no cricket whatsoever. And at this point in time, add to this, March 4th onwards, the Women's Premier League begins. So 5, 6 also, cricket will never take a backseat. Test cricket will take a backseat for 4 days. But in that period, you'll also have the Women's Premier League as well. So it is going to be a very, very action-packed test calendar. 4 days out of the period from March 4th from February 4th till March 13th, only 4 days of no cricket. After that, it is only action-packed test cricket. 2 series are in the World Test Championship cycle. The third one is Sri Lanka versus New Zealand, which will be after this. So, March to April will also see New Zealand and Sri Lanka collide with each other. And that is a very important series in the World Test Championship cycle as well. If Sri Lanka loses one test, India, irrespective of the margin, are through. So that is the situation we have. Thank you so much, folks, for joining us for this video. We'll be back with more updates on sports today. Press the like, comment and share button. We are also on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram as well. Thank you.